we're going to get into our starts of the week right now and talk about the guys that we really like in Week 6.
Starts of the week.
All right. Who wants to kick it off? We got a quarterback?
Yeah, I'll start it.
All right.
My quarterback of the week is Eli Manning. Eli's coming.
Wow.
Thank you. You like that one?
No. No, I'm just kidding. That's fine. I just wasn't ready for it.
He's taking on Philadelphia, and Philadelphia, I guess this stat is more related to the wide receivers, but they're giving up a wide receiver one every single week. Last week, I believe they gave up two to a Willie Snead and a Brandon Cooks. But the production is there. Eli is on fire. He's getting it done. If Beckham sits, that does hurt things a little bit, but even if Odell Beckham sits, I'm still comfortable starting Eli Manning.
I don't know why I'm alone on this. You guys both have Eli in the top 5 this week. I have Eli right at the end of the quarterback one. Part of it is I like guys more than him this week. Part of it is I think Philly's defense is he's probably going to force him into a turnover or two, and then the ODB stuff just mixed up for me. So, I don't blame anybody for rolling him out there. He's your start of the weeks, but I have a little different thought on him. Jason?
Well, since I went bottom of the barrel for my stream of the week with Brian Hoyer, I'm going tippity top. I'm going tippity top with Andy Dalton, the number one quarterback in fantasy football, as everyone thought, Mr. Andy Dalton. Now
you are bold.
The top of the barrel.
Well,
Andy Dalton
on a per game, it's Tom Brady, but. Here's the deal. The Buffalo defense is really highly touted. People are very afraid of them, but they haven't actually been as good as the fears of the Rex Ryan defense. You've got Andy Dalton that still is, I believe in a lot of leagues, just not started. Now he's being more rostered, but you picked him up off of waivers because, of course, he was not drafted or on waivers to start the year, and you might have another good option. I'm saying from here on out, I mean, he's got to be a must-start, so I'm going to claim him as my start of the week.
Bold.
Jason's bold move of the week.
Brian Hoyer.
Give me well, you could have gone with him if you wanted to be bold. I
did.
You did?
Well,
didn't you just go with Andy Dalton?
He's my stream of the week. I went with both.
Okay. I'm going to go with Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick is facing Baltimore. Baltimore gives up the second most points to fantasy quarterbacks. And listen, they've given up nine TDs to quarterbacks over the last 4 games. Josh McCown just torched them for 457 and 2. Kaepernick had a much better game against the Giants this past week. We've talked about it a little bit. You have to be very selective when you start him. But I really like Colin Kaepernick this week. So if you need to stream a quarterback that's sitting there on the waiver wire, Kaepernick, higher floor with the running game, I'm okay with him.
I can see it.
I'm just putting this out there because I just went and looked at our rankings. You've got Andy Dalton as the 15th quarterback this week. So some people might say don't start him. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. The reason I let you leave him in here at all is because of the fact he's playing Buffalo and people probably doubt him. And a lot of people that have Dalton actually have other top-tier quarterbacks because he was on the waiver wire. He wasn't somebody you drafted to be this level. So you're making decisions like Peyton Manning, Andy Dalton. You're making decisions, in that Tom Brady, Andy Dalton, whatever it is. So,
Go Tom Brady.
Yeah, really. All right, so running back, I'll kick this off. I'm going to go with DeMarco Murray against the New York
Wasn't he the last week
Giants.
Too? Not that that's bad. I'm just...
I don't believe he was my start of the week last week, was he?
I don't know.
You can effort that. But I think DeMarco Murray is rounding into form. The Giants are in the bottom half in points given up against running backs. He was 20, 83, and 1 last week. I like DeMarco Murray.
I think that's a very good play, and I do believe you picked him last week, which was brilliant because people were very off, and he had a great game. I am going with Justin Forsett or Buck Allen, whoever suits up. Justin Forsett was out of practice today, but I'm basically going with the Ravens running back. I like their matchup. Their O-line's been playing a little bit better, getting into shape. They're going against San Francisco, who has not been too great. They're 27th fantasy-wise against the run. So feel free to put Justin Forsett out there. But really, if Justin Forsett doesn't play play Buck Allen. I think he's in for a big week, and he's probably on your waivers right now in most leagues.
I'm going with this is a PPR play, as I like to do occasionally. I'm going with Shane Vereen, and I'm doubling down, I should say, on the Giants. Last week, Shane Vereen 5 for 24, but 8 for 86 and a touchdown through the air. If Odell Beckham is not playing, or if he's limited, if Randall is not playing or limited, Shane Vereen is going to be very involved in this game.
I really like that pick. When I see it, it scares me. But when you talk through it, I really agree with you. I think ODB won't play this week. And I think Vereen will be a beneficiary, probably the main one. So I really like that pick. Very solid. So who's your wide receiver? Start of the week, Mr. Wright.
You know what to do.
I've got the need. The need for Snead.
How long am I supposed to play this?
Forever.
Until we get sued.
Until we get sued.
That was the right cutoff. You did it properly.
Thank you.
So every week.
Tell them the name of the player.
I said
They
I got
can't
the
just-
need for Snead. I got the need for Willie Snead.
Okay.
The New Orleans Saints.
There you go.
Every week his snap count has climbed. He started in the 20s. Last week he was in the 70 percentile of snaps for the Saints. He had 11 targets last week, 6 for 141. It's a plus matchup for me against the Falcons at home. And maybe it's a cliche thing to talk about trust, but when you watch what's going on, he has the trust of Sean Payton and Drew Brees, and that is a very important thing for the New Orleans offense. I like Snead very much so. I am playing him.
We're going to find out right away.
And you get that
Tomorrow morning, we're going to
sure.
find out if you're right or wrong.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's exciting. My guy is Golden Tate. Golden Tate. I mean, when your first name is Golden, how can it not be?
I don't know. They're 0-5.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll say weeks 1 through 5.
Well, and that's why I'm having him as my start of the week this week, because he's a scary guy to start. He's been the second option on a bad 0-5 team who has been terrible both in the pass and the run. So why do it now? Because the Bears give up a lot of touchdowns to the wide receivers, and Matthew Stafford was pulled last week, and I think that is actually, when you look at his stats, you see a lot worse than he's actually played. And so this week I expect a bounce back for Matthew Stafford. The Bears give up a lot of fantasy points to wide receivers at the position. So I'm going to say go ahead and play Golden Tate. Look for a bounce-back game.
I'm going with Kendall Wright. I still think he is far and above the best option in Tennessee's passing game. He's also a talented squeaky wheel, so to speak. He complained about his involvement level. You know, they had a lot of success in games where he's been heavily involved. He's a PPR type of guy. You can't really count on touchdowns from Kendall Wright, but he does have the trust of Marcus Mariota, and Miami is one of the worst teams against wide receivers in fantasy, 25th.
Of all time, let's say it.
Of all time. And they're at home. They're at home. I like Kendall Wright. I'm okay flexing Kendall Wright this week. He's a possible kind of wide receiver 2 play in the right situation. So at tight end, I've got to bring this one to you guys. I feel like we haven't talked about him enough. Richard Rodgers is my start of the week, and I am confident about him. I would start him over Tammy. I would start him over Walker. I would start him over Cameron. I'd start him over a lot of guys because his involvement is going up. His last 2 games, he has 5 catches, 6 catches, playing on 93% of snaps, 8 targets last week, and faces a San Diego defense that is not shutting tight ends down. And so I think he is, he's going to be available, and I don't know what his ownership percentage is right now, but it's got to be minuscule. And so I really like Rodgers.
I love that pick. I think that's a great matchup play in addition to
he's actually
trend.
owned in 46%.
Well, there you have
I wouldn't have believed that. But still, he's available in half of the leagues. Sorry.
So
go ahead.
My tight end start of the week is Zach Ertz, a guy we loved in the early offseason who was injured and then not used, and then the Eagles' offense stunk. But if you look, last week he actually got 5 for 60. He's been on the field. Aguilar is kind of hurt right now, and this is the New York Giants, who have been giving up everything to the tight end. I feel like it's a good trend with Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is super talented. That's never been the question. As a pass catcher, he is a very talented pass catcher. His health has been the problem. The Eagles have been the problem. And some of the matchups have been the problem. All three of those things are now pointing in the right direction, and I think they're pointing to fantasy gold for Zach Ertz.
Down the yellow brick road. Ertz was in consideration for me, so I very much enjoy that pick because I love great matchups. Speaking of another great matchup, Jacob Tamme, 8 for 94 last week against Washington. Washington has actually a decent passing defense. Julio's health, maybe Julio's full go, maybe. But if he's even a little bit hobbled, Jacob Tamme is a great play. New Orleans is bottom 5 against tight end for fantasy points. New Orleans, Oakland, and the Giants are all targets you want for a tight end. And for Jacob Tamme to already have gotten involved last week speaks well for him being involved this week.
Mike's just trying to get his starts of the week out of the way. He just wants these games to be over with, and we'd be able to come in and say,
yeah,
you know.
Please be a high-scoring game tonight. I'm going to be so disappointed if for some reason the script is flipped and it's like a 13-20 game. I'll gouge my eyes out.
Yeah, but Rob Ryan won't be dancing around on the sideline, hair flopping all over the place. What's the opposite of a silver fox?
A gray goose?
Oh,
A brown bear?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
Brown
figure
bear,
out
that's better.
if what is Rob Ryan? He's a silver something. We should probably move on. All right, that's it for today's show. We will have the second half of the games tomorrow. We will have our Daily Dose segment with Chris Meany of the Fantasy Sports Network, giving you all the DFS insight and information you need to make the right picks this weekend. And we'll have a lot of information on the injury situation. I know Carlos Williams is not practicing. LaShawn McCoy is practicing. So we need some clarity on some of these backfield situations. Justin Forsett, Buck Allen, those type of things. So good stuff going on.
That's all you got?
I expect you to jump in once the music starts playing, my friend. Jointhefoot.com. Come check out our community.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Wow, you got nothing.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thefantasyfootballers.com and follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers.